The tragic story unveils what happens when simple childish pranks go too far, ending with the life of a child taken. Philip and Johan, being two good friends in what seems to be middle school, like to prank their classmates and teachers when eventually Philip is faced with a difficult task to obey his friend Johan, as otherwise it would mean he is choosing over him by not obeying his instructions of pulling a prank, which would lead to something really bad happening. The story takes place in an isolated small inter-Slavic town with a small population and traditional beliefs and parents. Philip, seemingly being a 12-year-old boy, lives in a middle-class family, being the only child with his mother who works really hard to provide a decent enough living for herself and her son. She ensures to prepare breakfast for Philip before leaving for work, getting enough just to get by. Philip starts his day by waking up in his decently sized bedroom, having a Persian carpet on the wall as decoration, eating his breakfast, and then getting a call on their landline by his good friend Johan to get dressed and meet him outside so they can walk to school together.
Dobro jutro. Jeda si? Obleči se i idi, a ja tebe ne čakao.
Being in a small town which seems to have been partially transformed into human habitat by cutting through a forest makes it convenient and easy for the two friends to walk to each other's places and walk to school together, as everything seems to be close together. On the way to school, both friends catch up, having a conversation about how Philip likes strawberry cupcakes and how Johan has something special to show to him when they get to school. As soon as they get there, Johan sneaks over a whoopee cushion to Philip, instructing him to put it on one of their classmates' chair, someone called Gusta.
Whoa! Gustas perdonul!
After successfully managing to prank Gusta with everyone laughing at him in the class, their teacher called Pani Klopnika reads the attendance, telling someone off in the class by the name of Agatha. The teacher scolds Agatha, saying how she heard about her bad behavior the day before, something she will report back to her father so that she can be disciplined. Despite Agatha pleading with the teacher that she didn't do anything and that she's being framed, the teacher doesn't want to hear any of it. Clearly, Johan pulled a prank, blaming it on Agatha, which caused the teacher become furious with her. After some time, when the class is over, Johan hands over a fist and shaken up soda to Philip, saying that he is not yet done with Agatha, wanting to prank her even more, as if getting in trouble with her father wasn't enough. As Philip goes to pass it to Agatha, Agatha refuses to take it, being upset with him as she knows he or Johan did something to pull a prank on her. She then continues to plead with Philip, confronting him that she knows Johan pulled this prank, asking him to tell her father that Johan was behind it all, as her father is a little too much and goes insane in face of drama and releases all of his frustration on her. Philip agrees to confess to her father, and then, as a token of appreciation, she takes the drink, which fizzes up in her face.
Ach ty kurwa!
As school finishes, Agatha goes to Philip, saying that she cannot walk with them today as she has to rush back home, which reveals Agatha is actually a mutual friend of theirs, but not as quite close as Philip and Johan. She yet again asks Philip to confess to her father that it was Johan, which Philip promises to do. As Johan comes after Agatha leaves, Philip brings the matter up with Johan, who refuses to admit that he was the one who made a false report against her to the teachers. That's when he confronts Philip with a manipulative question to choose between Agatha or him, saying if he tells the truth to her father, the father would be even more harsh to Johan as he already had issues with him. The conversation then continues on with Johan revealing that he wants to taxidermy a beaver as he has practiced on rats before, which shows what a troubled kid Johan could be, someone who has problems with his mother as well. As Philip gets home, after a few hours he gets a call from an angry man who, without introducing himself, starts cussing and threatening Philip to tell him the truth if Johan is spreading rumors or if Agatha actually did what she was reported for, confirming he had problems with him last time and even tried to teach him a lesson.
Гнила голова тому пиздюку. То правда, что той щене она лгала? И мне теперь с тем говном ебать.
Getting a little scared with the man threatening Johan that he would kill him, Philip becomes nervous and then lies that Agatha made it all up, when the man shifts his attention to his daughter with her screams being heard, revealing that he started getting physical with her and hurting her. As Philip, feeling guilty for this, hoping Agatha is alright, he goes to bed and then wakes up to start a new day, meeting with Johan outside, when he explains that a rock smashed through his window last night, realizing that it was Agatha's father who did it, as he also screamed while being outside the house. It turns out Agatha's father has problem with drinking, often getting drunk and causing trouble. Meanwhile, Johan explains that he trapped another rat and played with it a little in his twisted ways before killing it to practice taxidermy on, saying how the rat actually smelled nice this time, which could mean that it might have been a pet of someone whom he killed. Johan, clearly showing early signs of being psychotic, jokes about it as if it's completely normal to kill animals and seemingly torture them before doing so, all in the name of taxidermy. Finally reaching the school, a new teacher is taking over the class today called Wisniewska, who seems to be a sweet and kind teacher. Johan yet again pranks another student by using his puppet Philip, whom the kind teacher helps, cleaning up the vomit as they made him sick by switching his juice. As the teacher patiently finishes helping the student clean up, she goes on to read attendance and start the lesson. Just when she is busy turning her back to the classroom, the menaced Johan orders his little puppet Philip to throw paper balls at the teacher. He does just like Johan asks, throwing paper balls enough times at Wisniewska to the point that she has enough and leaves the classroom, but not before having a little breakdown. Poor teacher even says something heartbreaking, that the kids in the classroom are just as heartless as the rest of the world, which reveals that she has had a bad life and bad experiences to the point that the world seems like a cruel and heartless place in her perspective. As the class ends with the students having a little break, Johan orders Philip to get Agatha distracted and busy so he can pull a prank on her. As he does so, Philip actually shows genuine care about her, asking how she was and that her father is scary, to which she explains that she was beat last night because of what Johan did. That's when she goes back to her desk, finding a dead, bleeding rat on her desk, with Johan laughing like a psychopath, with the dead rat he found the day before being this one. Agatha being horrified and starting to have an asthma attack because of that, Philip finally scolds Johan, telling him off that it's not funny and he stretched it too far. That's when the old teacher, the impatient one called Klubnika, instructs Philip to walk her home so that her father can deal with her, showing no interest whatsoever to her safety and health. As they walk out, Agatha reveals that she faked having an asthma attack as she didn't want to be there seeing Klubnika interrogate everyone on who made the kind teacher have a breakdown, and both agree that Johan crossed the line with the dead rat prank. As they walk, Agatha asks Philip to go to the park and play, as going home will cause her more trouble and pain with a drunk father, to which Philip agrees. Just then, Johan joins them and cuts their conversation short, intruding with another prank, saying he ducked the class and wants to join them, taking them to a good spot. He then arrogantly plays down the pranks, even saying her father loves her for beating her. Instead of apologizing, gaslighting poor Agatha some more. What's funny is that he himself is a child of a divorce, not liking the fact that he's living with his mother, not getting along with her, saying that he wants to run away and go to his father in the city. So he fully understands how horrible and tormenting bad parents can be, something that he dismisses about Agatha, being a complete hypocrite, saying that her drunk and abusive father loves her while he himself wants to run away from his own mother. Johan takes them to a nice scenic spot in the forest, yet somewhere very isolated, where he suggests playing hide and seek. Just as they get busy playing, with Philip trying to find a spot to hide, he hears a loud bang when he turns, seeing in horror Agatha lying on the ground with a pool of blood around her head, with a cold-looking John standing over her, just staring into the distance. It turns out Johan tied her shoelaces, which caused Agatha to trip, banging her head on a rock on the ground, breaking her own skull, not breathing. Time being limited and counting down, neither of them knowing what to do, Johan has the audacity to say that it was just a prank in his defense, while in fact being shocked and having a cold stare, not knowing what to do. Johan being frozen in his place, being dead silent, just staring into the distance. Philip tries to get some answers and suggestion of what to do, not being able to get anything out of him. Scolding him and telling him how his jokes have gone too far, being completely unfunny, Johan seems to be gone, shocked to what he has done, taking someone's life. Philip runs to the school to get their teacher to help them, sprinting as fast as he can. As he gets to Klopnika, no matter what he says and how much he begs, she only gets more angry, punishing him to stay in class until the end of the day, not believing what he says about Agatha falling and hitting her head on a rock, thinking it's another stupid prank. She's especially furious as the other teacher quit, leaving all classes for her to supervise. As it starts to get dark, with the guard letting him out, Philip runs to the spot where Agatha hit her head, seeing the pool of blood with neither Agatha or Johan anywhere to be seen. He hopes that they are okay and runs back home to check with Johan. As he gets home, he tries to call for Johan, but he doesn't pick up. That's when the mother slides in 2 bowls of cereal, saying that Johan came earlier waiting in the room for Philip to arrive, with the perspective changing, with someone watching him from outside the window or possibly his closet, seemingly being Johan. Strangely, Philip, despite being scared, doesn't check his closet and goes to bed, dismissing the fact that the mother just said Johan came to the room earlier. As Philip wakes up, going to the closet to change clothes, he finds Agatha's inhaler in his closet, finding it very strange understandably, yet not investigating it anymore. He then gets a strange phone call with no one answering, as if trying to prank him.
Johan? Johan, tuto te? Priateľ, ne je to prientno. Priestav!
As he leaves, he doesn't see Johan anywhere, finding it bizarre as he is never late. Waiting some time, with Johan nowhere to be seen, he decides to walk to school alone. As he gets to class a little bit late and sits on his chair, he feels a sharp pain, starting to feel himself getting wet. When he looks down in horror, seeing that he's bleeding, finding a nail implanted on his chair, piercing through him. Feeling as if Johan is watching and stalking him, he goes to the clinic to get patched up and stays till late to clean up after himself. As he leaves the school at night to walk home alone, he gets a strange feeling that someone is stalking him and chasing after him, which starts to terrify him, running faster and faster to get home. In a terrifying second-person perspective chase sequence, which seems to be a crazed Johan going after him, Philip manages to safely get home. As he gets to his room, he finds a note left over by his mother that she had to go for her night shift. As he tries to unwind and get to bed, his door gets knocked on in a creepy way, with the familiar voice of none other than Johan being heard, saying that both him and Agatha are outside. Philip, knowing he locked the door, wondering how they got in, Johan explains that the mother let them in before and let them wait, even though Philip didn't see either of them. That's when Philip starts to get a bad feeling about it all, with Johan blaming him for ditching them to sort out the fallout by themselves. Philip, who has enough of Johan's nonsense, tells him that he got punished for his stupid prank and that he is cruel and psychotic, and he gets Philip in trouble all the time, saying that he doesn't want to be his friend any longer, demanding to hear Agatha's voice. After a long pause, with Johan going silent after sounding strange and not like himself, a clear recorded audio is heard from Agatha saying that she needs to use the toilet.
Ono je tu, drug. Pusti nas. Mi prinesli tvoje najljubije keksi. Klubnične.
Johan pleads with him to open the door, saying that he finally got him a full box of strawberry cupcakes. As he does so, Johan places the box on the table, telling him to check it out. As Philip opens the box, in horror, he watches the head of Agatha starting to become speechless, feeling cold and numb, not knowing what else to say or think, when the psychotic Johan appears from his back, seemingly killing him too. According to the limited information we got from Johan, his parents divorced, who ended up in the custody of his mother. He hated being with his mother and desperately wanted to be with his father for unexplained reasons. It seems as if he vented out his frustration and pain through pulling questionable pranks to feel better about himself. A sickening hobby that he had as well was something he picked up from his father, which was doing taxidermy on animals, seemingly dead animals. But Johan actively trapped living rodents, tortured them, playing with them, and then killed them before the taxidermy. Honestly, a questionable hobby to begin with, let alone actively trapping animals just for that, especially if these animals were not infesting the house. Even worse, playing with them and then torturing them before doing the taxidermy. It's to no one's surprise that Johan had a troubled mind with a lot of frustration and anger, but he wasn't a killer. When his stupid prank tying Agatha's shoelaces led to her accidental death, he felt shocked and numb, something that he didn't plan and didn't intend to do. He was a cruel prankster and tormented others, but he didn't want to kill Agatha. Being put in this difficult situation of his own stupid doing, thinking his friend Philip had left them, made them come up with a plan not to get in trouble, especially as he already had angered Agatha's father before, shown how terrified of the father he was. You might ask, what plan? Well, that is to dispose of her body and make it seem like he had no involvement in her disappearance, and that is by dismembering her limbs and disposing of them so she can never be found. He possibly used his experience killing rodents and doing taxidermy to hide Agatha's body. It's strange to why he would bring her head to Philip, but my guess is that he doesn't want to feel alone in this tragedy, something that he caused, wanting to involve Philip in to feel better and get some support. The possibility is that he would also blame it on Philip, lying to others. If that is, Philip doesn't pose any conflict and doesn't confront him, that he will expose him, as otherwise Johan will most probably try to kill Philip too, in order to hide his dark, dirty secret. And this is it for this video, folks. I truly hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to stay tuned for more by hitting on the subscribe button and the notification bell. As always, it's been your host Star, and I will see you on another one.